Air India just forgot they owned a Boeing 737 for 13 years. This 43-year-old cargo jet sat in Kolkata since 2012. No record, no clue it even existed until the airport said, "Get it out," last week. Today we are going to resurrect this aircraft and take it for a spin from Kolkata to Jamshedpur, which my mum says is actually a scrapping area, or actually a steel factory. So it does seem quite likely that this aircraft might go there at some point. So let us get started right away. So coming to the overhead panel, we'll turn the battery on and check the battery volts are within allowable limits, which they are. Let's just test the AC meter gauge, the full travel, and test the ground power frequency. And it is within tolerance, so we can close the ground power like so. And now the aircraft is all powered up. So let's begin with our overhead flows. We can adjust our trip and date if we wanted to. Flight recorder set to normal. We can test the overspeed warning, test the stall warning, test the leading edge and flap annunciator lights. Thrust reversers are normal. All the hydraulics shut off. Valves for the flight controls and spoilers are all in their guarded position. Alternate flaps are guarded as well. Yaw dampers off. Mac trimmer has been tested. Our data sources for the nav, compass and gyro are set to normal. Crossfeed and valve transit is checked. Fuel heats are off. And the fuel pumps can remain off for now. The nav light is on, which lets everyone know that we are powered up. Standby power set to auto. CSD disconnects, they're all guarded and off. And the bus transfers are on auto and guarded as well. No smoking and fasten seatbelt signs will keep on. Let's arm the emergency lights and adjust our cockpit lighting as required. Equipment cooling, either normal or alternate, either will do. And the rest of the starters, they're off. Let's test the CVR, and we can also do a window heat test and an overheat test as well. We'll turn these off for now because we want to minimize electrical drain. And we'll test our pitot heats. They're all set. Anti-icing is off. Electric pumps can stay off. For the hydraulics, that is, our engine-driven pumps can just remain in the on position. Coming to our pneumatic section, cockpit temperatures and auto. We can put the Gasper boost fan on as well. We can do a pack reset. And engine bleed should be on for the JTADs. And the packs can actually come on because we have the air cart connected. Isolation valves should be set to open to power both sides because APU bleed actually only powers the left hand side. Okay, coming to our pressurization. Today we are going to be flying at flight level 140, so we'll set that into the auto. Our landing elevation 470 feet. Like so. Let's check our auto status, fail and standby automatically illuminates. Cabin rate should be at the normal indexed position, and our flight today corresponds to a cabin altitude of, let's see, 3,000 feet. I mean, actually less than that. It's not actually on this little graph. So we'll just set 3,000 feet. Let's also just check the full travel of the outflow valve using manual AC power. And ensure it's fully open, and now we'll return this back to auto. Okay, now coming over here, let's quickly set our route. So we are flying from Kolkata to Jamshedpur and flight number, let's say, is 737. And we'll execute that. I've already set in the departure, runway 01 right, and the SID. Then going back to the flight plan, I put in the rest of my routes and the arrival as well. And for the VNAV, I put in our flight altitude and all that stuff. So we're all set actually. The FMC is all set to go. I'll just set the runway heading, which is 7 degrees. And it shouldn't really matter all this because we're going to be flying the FMC route anyway. And also let's establish our takeoff performance. So we have the EPR of 2.15, so we can, it's already set in actually. And let's take off with flaps 5, so V1 of 123 knots. Rotate 124, V2 131, so V2 plus 10 of 141 knots. Like so. And our flap retraction speed is 190 knots. And stab trim of 5.13. So let me just note that down. Okay, so that's the takeoff performance all done. Let's just do the remainder of our tests. Let's first test all the lighting. This checks our flight mode annunciator, our master caution, and a lot of other lights as well, such as the speed brakes, the gear, the reverser, the status of the reversers, and so on. So that is quite a complete test. You can also test the fuel quantity individually. Notice they all roll back to 0. We don't have any fuel in the center tank anyway. So having checked that, ensuring the standby altimeter is caged, the yaw damper can also be tested, engine vibrations and so on, and the oil quantity test. Water brakes remains off, there's no takeoff option actually. And let us see if there's any altitude constraints we need to be mindful of. The first constraint I see here is 4,000 feet, but after that we're just going direct to our flight altitude. So let us just put in our cruising altitude. Like so. And coming over here to the first officer's side, we can again test the rest of the lights. And we can also do our GPWS test.
Slide slow. Pull up. Wind shear. Wind shear. Wind shear. Terrain.
I think it's a good time to get the APU started.
Sink rate.
So before we do that, we must do our APU fire test.
Pull up. Don't sink. Don't sink. Too low. Terrain. Too low. Gear. Too low. Flaps. Too low. Terrain. Slide slow. Bank angle. Bank angle.
And test the discharge
100.
and the rest of the cargo fire test.
30. 20. 10. 500.
I keep the TCAS on standby. So we've done our APU fire test. We can now proceed to start the APU. So we know that the APU draws fuel from the right hand side boost pumps. So we can turn on the right hand side boost pump and then start the APU. Notice the EGT is rising and now it is probably self-sustaining as well. Let's get the beacon light on if there is. Anti-collision we can put on. We are getting ready for engine start. Let's ensure our doors are closed as well. Yep, they all are closed. So the APU is spooling up nicely. Just waiting for the APU available light. Get the galley power on as well. Okay, the APU is available. Just want to check though. Its output. It's all okay. So we can now close the APU gens. And we can disconnect our external power as well. Okay, so with the APU on, and we can also open up the APU bleed. And now we're ready for engine start. So I have to obviously turn the packs off. And ensure our pressure is okay, and now we are all ready. Let's put our fuel boost pumps on. Like so, we don't have fuel in the center pumps, as shown by the low pressure lights here. And let us now start number 2. And let's call for a pushback as well.
Okay, a push cart is on it.
Okay, number 1. And let's also put our electric driven hydraulics on. We can also set flaps 5.
Here we go.
Okay, 20%. Number 1.
Okay, safe travels.
Okay, number 1 is running. So now what we can do is check our Gen 1 and Gen 2. And now we can close the generators. There we go. Now APU air goes off. Our engine bleeds are on. Put our packs back on. Set the isolation to auto. And now we can put the APU master off. And now it will cool down. Let's put our taxi lights on, runways on, off lights on. So hydraulics are checked. Electrics are checked. Just want to check our flaps. The flaps have not actually extended, which is concerning. Let's try maybe the alternate flaps. See if those work. So the flaps are, they're still not extending. So clearly we have a flap jam problem. You should probably expect it. This aircraft has been sitting at Kolkata for over 10 years, so we'll just have to manage with this. So let's start the taxi then. And also apologies for no custom scenery because this is X-Plane 11. My main sim is X-Plane 12, but I reinstalled X-Plane 11 to avail of these add-ons, which are not yet come to X-Plane 12, but I don't have too much storage. So just taxi our way to runway 01 right. And let's do a flight control check as well. Let's get the landing lights on. There we go. So now I'm just crossing runway 01 left and making my way to 01 right. And now let us begin the takeoff. So I'm going to do a brakes release takeoff so that we can, to make up for the fact that we don't have flaps. So I'm going to start setting the takeoff power. And our trim was 5.13. There we go. Okay, so let's set our takeoff thrust.
B1, rotate.
Okay, positive rate, gear up. Also, let's just retract the landing lights for better performance. Approaching 1,500 feet, and now at 2,000 feet we will set our acceleration. Okay, let's retract whatever slats we do have extended. And now let's just follow our auxiliary navigation. Let's set our speed buck to 250 knots. Okay, let's engage the automatic. So I'm going to select autopilot 1, IAS hold, and VOR lock, which in this case actually follows our auxiliary nav. Okay, we have a pressurization warning. Oh yeah, I did forget to put our window heats on. There we go. So we have a pressurization warning. It looks like the auto system has failed. So, and it didn't automatically go to standby, so I'm going to do that now. And let's level off. Otherwise we're gonna have issues for the passengers. So throttling back. And let us descend to about 10,000 feet. Okay, I'll just cut out the sound. So you can see that our aircraft did not pressurize. I think we'll level off here at 11,000 feet. So at this altitude we have more breathable air for the passengers. I mean, there's no passengers. It's a cargo aircraft, but anyway. And we're still following our auxiliary nav. Okay, so the only option is to come in fast because we can't extend our flaps. Only our slats are out. It does say, according to the takeoff, flaps up over 190 knots. So I think that actually might be our safe bet. We'll have to see. Any less than that, we just may stall and fall out of the sky.